we need to address not only the insanity of the world, but the people who are fighting against that insanity. And one of those people is J.K. Rowling, that you know that she has been on this crusade against the let's say the T insanity. You know that the TQ has already been excised from the LGB, and now we have a very interesting let's say ad that I wanted to show you. Because, well, she retweeted that, and it is worthy of a watch. This is very worthy of a watch. In this case, it's not about the T and the Q, but it's more about men in women's sport. Let's watch this.
Riley Gaines and Sia Leahy are in hot water over their transphobic comments, and I just gotta say, who cares if biological males play in women's sports? Just be inclusive.
Could not agree more. This is just a bunch of fear-mongering from right-wing bigots.
Gonna say it, she's a bigot.
She's been a massive distraction from her team with her hate-filled rhetoric. Sia is not inclusive. And males invading women's sports isn't even a problem, as far as I'm concerned.
These female athletes just need to work harder.
And not blame others for their lack of success.
Transphobe.
As the captain, Sia is very much responsible for these boycotts, which have cost her team a playoff bid.
Guess we'll see how Sia handles all that pressure tonight.
The truth fits. This is just awesome, an awesome piece of this is cinema. You know that like the meme says, this is cinema. I'm gonna play it again, unmute as I speak on top of that. Is that you see that all the effort that goes into being in the top of the world at a sport. I guess sports are that's what they are meant to be. And that is part of the things that we need to, let's say, readjust in our world nowadays that we didn't imagine, I don't know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that we could somehow see men in women's sports. Oh, what is a man? Oh, what is a woman? This is all that nonsense. How can that be a question? And that is the level of gaslighting that the world, the Western world, it's more that the Western world has been subject to in, I would say, the past couple decades. So we could say even the past couple decades. This is not really not something new, because you know that we could say, oh, no, this has been only the past 5 or 6 years. No, if we have seen that in the past 5 or 6 years, it's because it has been more notorious in the past 5 or 6 years. But the seed must have been much earlier than that. So the seed at some point infected so many people that they say, oh, it's not a big deal. Why there are no, even this guy that I despise him with a passion. This what is his name? The astrophysicist. I always forget his name. I really don't care about remembering his name. Tyson. What is Neil deGrasse Tyson, who has dedicated his career. I wouldn't say destroy his career, because I really don't care about his career, his credibility. He has dedicated what was left of his credibility, that he lost everything, to say that, oh, there's no big deal. There's not a real difference between XX and XY, and you know it all boils down to testosterone, and the testosterone levels. And we know reality. We know the reality about this. We know what is true about this. We don't need an explanation from washed out astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson to tell us that, oh, no, yeah, men shouldn't be in women's sports. But then again, we needed this. I think that this happens every once in a while for humanity in general. We need to be exposed to certain levels of insanity to remember that common sense is something that is that we need to fight for. We need to fight for common sense. If we don't fight for common sense every day, every year, eventually a mind virus can just infect the world. So we needed to fight back. We need to fight back all this nonsense. Even if those figures, they pretend to have some kind of scientific credibility, and from their grandstanding and from their insanity try to convince us or something that simply is not. That is the way to say this. It is not. There's no other way to say that. Men cannot participate in women's sports. And if anybody comes out of the woodwork and says that, oh, but there are exceptions if you have this. Yeah, there are exceptions, but ultimately, if you're an exceptions, because there are exceptions, okay? Not exceptions in the sense that you will have an exception, you will be a male that can compete in women's sports. No, you were born in a fringe way between the two sexes. There's a problem with your chromosomes. I don't care. I don't know. You still need to face the reality. The reality is that, at least when it comes to chromosomes, we're talking about XX and XY. Oh, but what about those who are XXY? And what about those? Case by case basis, most probably you will not be able to compete with XX. That should be the final verdict. Keep men in men's sports. Keep them away from women's sports, from women's spaces, from women's restrooms, for everything that pertains to the safety and all the rights of women. Because this is about safety and rights. This has been taken away from women, and the good thing is that we are giving them back that safety. It's gonna take a bit of a time because the woke mind virus is strong, but I'm sure that we can be stronger than that. And I, for one, I will keep being a voice of reason about this. And remember to download my 100 free body language tips in the description of this video, and you will be subscribed to my awesome emails as well.